Though if the Enchanter gets picked by FlyQuest on 5 right here, but they're going to go for something standard and just go for tank team fighting.
Classic Ornn for the team fight. Kumo, plenty of experience on that one, as many top laners tend to do. So a lot of that power relying on Johnson later on in the game. Both drafts lined up. What do you make of them, Jet?
They're very similar, actually, in terms of how they're going to look to line up late game team fighting. They both have hyper carry ADs, see from TSM. It would actually be more from Spica. And I think it's also because he has such a hard job on this team in particular, playing the translator role many times for his support and mid laner as a dual language speaker. I think it just puts an extra tax on what he needs to do as a jungler.
That is just kind of the constant thing that we'll be having to check in on, especially because in several interviews when appearing on things like Hotline League, making sure to be reserved in even his personal expectations for this squad. It'll take time for them to synergize. We're here in week two, taking to the Rift for the first time for these two teams of the day, as most of Fly...
Other than the fact that Huni can probably play pretty aggressive from like 2 minutes 30 on, since that's going to be a timing where Jarvan would not be top.
Ornn duty quite classic when it comes to prescribing how that early game is going to go in laning, focusing on later on, get those ornaments online, and right now try and offset any pressure that... but down in the bot lane, we already get some action. Tactical, ignited, flashes away. Both HP bars brought down low, but they're safe.
Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised that TSM was in that position. The Tahm Kench Jinx is just going to be stronger, especially when they have a level advantage. I mean, any duo would be stronger when it's 2 level 2s to 2 level 1s, but being in range of that engage and having to burn multiple flashes is a very good start to the lane for FlyQuest.
And a nice scrap over in the mid.
Higher than Spica if they end up meeting. Spica here, I think, just to let the wave crash for Huni and maybe even get a play. Dive would be rather ambitious.
Walked right over that ward, so Kumo knew it was coming, locked in and stunned out. And on the opposite side, Josedeodo is here for the lock-in, knock up onto Huni, a burn onto Spica. First blood going over to FlyQuest, Josedeodo taking it.
Ooh, that was very forced by Spica and Huni. I'll have to watch it again to see if there was a critical cooldown they missed, but generally diving a cloth armor Ornn like that is very dangerous. And bot.
Oh, Shenyi goes in for it. Flash is used. The Drowsy landing onto Shenyi. The burst is good.
No flash.
Heal in response. Takoi finishes off.
Afrobu and Johnson with more early lane plays, capitalizing on the flash being down already. And you don't traditionally think of Tahm Kench as this aggressive laner for the Victor to get shoved, but until that point, Takui can play pretty aggressively, get little timing windows, and then make things happen. He got the kill for the bottom lane, and then he also bought them time to get that dragon.
Great play off of that intel, going and making sure to secure the vision.
TSM to try and take it, because they have the bot lane move.
And that's what they're going to try to do. Spica starting it up slightly, but knows that Josedeodo is likely still in the area. Shenyi making his rotation through, as well as tactical. So that early firepower here, ready for the 5-man collapse onto this objective for TSM.
Might see a fight.
Does Josedeodo try and initiate this?
Everyone's here.
Day 4 is who you look to go for it. Kumo also from the top side, going and throwing down the Ornn horn. Even the flashes directly into the level of impact. Cataclysm gets the lock even more. A trade of Huni for a trade of Josedeodo means this is complete.
Really interesting series of events right there. So TSM thought they had enough time to kill the Rift Herald because their bot lane moved first, and they had the Renekton there first. But since FlyQuest decided to fully move up their bottom lane, they were just waiting for everyone.
Into enemy jungle territory. Wave pushed up by Johnson onto this turret. 11:20 soon enough on the clock means plates are still good, but TSM trade out on the bot side to get one for themselves.
Yeah, they're going to get a full turret of gold here. It's going to split a lot of the plate gold from the Aphelios towards the Lee Sin and Renekton. It'll still be the first turret. However, because it was pretty much a big map split, I think Johnson's going to get a good chunk of plates himself. We'll see how the gold pans out when this is all said and done.
And Johnson still left to his lonesome there top. You saw the initial rotation from Fly, but make sure to keep that pressure across both of those lanes with TSM's priority down here. Bot getting the second charge, though, off of that Herald onto the tier 2 is a really great spot to see from them with that advantage here.
It is. If they can make a return trip to that lane, it's going to be really beneficial. But as kind of the losing team at the moment, I think it's going to be pretty difficult.
Break is up. Josedeodo is on it. TSM is not. So FlyQuest, while doing everything they can to make sure they have as much security and firepower for the pending potential fight, they don't actually have to do it, stacking up the second one for themselves.
Yeah, they're now kind of through the early laning phase without too much bad happening, and then also having the Zoe being ahead of the Victor. They're pretty happy with the game state right now.
Right in the jungle, though, Shen Yi finds himself on the opposite side of Josedeodo and friends. Cataclysm followed up by Afromu. That's a kill onto the enemy support. So nearby with Huni, Kumo could potentially be a target.
He's got to make sure to keep his health up as much as possible, allow Jose and Afro to arrive.
Zoning off Jose as much as they possibly can, flash away,
Ambitious.
flag and drag in, activated the Dominus here, next knock up from the Orn Horn. Kumo continues to go in to try and find a little bit of safety, but the return from Afromu is good here. So TSM not necessarily going to want to continue for that more. Flash forward by Takoi and Afromu. Goes for the Abyssal Dive once more. Huni is now separated. Tries to slice and dice away. The damage is too good.
Got him.
Spica is still here, though, but he can't do anything about it. Another flash forward. That's a Zoe. Just endless opportunities to do so. And the rest retreat.
The Tigers, that was a 3v4. And FlyQuest won it that whole time. Johnson was getting solo turret gold for himself, so he's now 1,500 up against the opposing Aphelios. This game is even closer to becoming a rout.
Everyone taking a game off someone else. Immortals taking down 100 Thieves earlier, but also because when you go for such a unique strategy, what happens when they go on a more traditional comp? And it feels like a lot of what they have learned throughout lock-in, trying to get more on the same page, not going for engages onto different individuals within team fight, not as present here, and been shoring this up more and more throughout time. Takoi Emperor Big got the Mythic across almost everyone except for the support. Wow. That's it. You go to sleep, into the grave, right under the turret. Don't even need the rocket. Another one for FlyQuest.
Of course, he burns 2 summoner spells right before he dies. It's like the false hope ends up costing him even more.
Oh, God. And FlyQuest can just bully him out, saying, Shenyi, what are you doing hanging around this turret? This is ours easily. Got the Rift Herald to drop down, too, which means they'll get an additional charge. Because without Tactical nearby, the remaining members of TSM will have some difficulty holding this up. They do try to get the trade with Kaiduo going over towards top so he can eliminate that turret and offset this pressure. But look, another charge there for Shelly too.
Getting that mid-tier 2 down before even their tier 1 is down is a huge boon. And the jungle, it doesn't look like TSM's going to contest at all.
Nope, and they know Kaiduo is top, does have the Unleashed Teleport at this point in time, so you are thinking
Tactical,
about those things.
no sums.
Instead, another Orn Horn drop through for a Tactical. Doesn't have any of that escapability. Knock up after knock up, knocked down. Tactical out.
So, this is definitely looking like
Summoner's Rift time and time again. Whereas TSM, you do ask that question, okay, when do we see that kind of gelling together finally? Huni taking a bit of damage over here. Josedeodo making his rotation through the side too, so they can just back him off, and they've got a little bit of time to burn some more of this wave.
FlyQuest has done a very good job so far this game, taking the opportunities when they're there, but also not overcommitting. I think there's a different version of Josedeodo who flash ults there onto Huni trying to get something out, but he saves it because that's not how they win this game. They win this game by getting the Infernal Soul, setting up as 5, being first to a spot, waiting for TSM to walk in, and then just killing them with their better frontline and better backline damage. So they just need to have patience here, waiting for this Infernal Soul.
Knowing when to exert that patience and when not to go too hard is one of the strengths of Josedeodo as they start up this Baron. Seeing him in past seasons, even before coming to the LCS, you know, highlight clips of him on the Evelyn, sometimes it's having that tempered moment, but we're actually getting the burn down. They're committing to it. TSM's making their rotation through. Are they going to try and go for a fight off of this? Kumo goes in, gets rooted, knocked up once more. Quickness to get Chenyi back into protected territory. Teleport directly into the center. Cataclysm thrown up, and Josedeodo has to get out of there with the flash, but it's okay. FlyQuest here. Don't lose a single member. Take down Tactical again and get the Baron.
Just a really nice overall sequence there by FlyQuest. They had good vision in the jungle before they started up the Baron. They take it easily, and then they turn for a fight. And you can just see the mass of their gold lead as well. And they are in total command of this game.
As we get a continuation of the engages that have worked so well, Johnson goes golden, teleport from Creado to try and get a good death ray down. Johnson with a flash in return, has the autos that are going to do those heavy hits though to take down Spica, and the rest of FlyQuest are in pursuit. They do have to worry about the low HP of their ADC, but they still take the support. Josedeodo with the flank around to get the knock up, and the rest of the team has finally arrived as well. A good old bubble to get a good chunk down onto Huni, brings his HP bar down to 50%, and Kumo taking the tower so they can get this Baron empowered wave to finish off that tier 2. Not going to connect with the Ornhorn on this one. Aphromoo flashing forward to see if he can get a tongue slap onto somebody, but in the end, it's still an overall victory for them as they pressure into the base.
We're only 22 minutes in, and it looked like they were one Jarvan ult on a group away from just ending the game. TSM's gonna try something desperate.
And they know that they've already gotten a decent amount of poke down and burst. Spica connects, but not really a very safe opportunity to move in on that.
Oh,
Rousey also going to sleep, and you see the E come in from Josedeodo. Targets 3 with a Cataclysm. Huni, can you swing away as the Relented? We're looking at you to offset the rest, but Tactical gets a nice kick onto Kumo. So 3 taken away for Fly, 3 for TSM. It's a bloodbath.
Started this fight because of what was tried previously, and we got to cut away from this because Huni was trying to stop that Infernal Soul, and it did not go well.
Oh no, the crocodile goes down. And that means that this is Soul going over to FlyQuest. It's looking pretty good for them. Almost 8K gold lead. Yeah, the last fight went even, but they're still winning across the board. TSM are here for an attempted contest though. Takoi feels like he ain't never missing a shot. To let everybody follow up, Super Mega Death Rocket lands onto 2, but they're tanky enough and enough to sustain available to them as well. But the zoning right now is unreal. Look at that. Spica, just a couple shots. He can't be in it anymore. Knock up onto Shen Yi, but that's the support and enough distance just to say, okay, we want to make sure we secure this Drake, and we got it.
Takoi has been incredible this game. He doesn't have a CS advantage on Victor, but that's because he's been making plays everywhere on the map. He was able to get enough control of the lane in the mid game to make roams. He's just completely controlling the space that FlyQuest has vision for. It's very hard to check spaces against Zoe as the team is behind, but he's landing everything. And here's the final fight.
The flash and the charm from Shen Yi goes Drowsy. Can't even fall asleep yet. They say no dreams for you, buddy. We're just putting you right down as soon as we possibly can. Spica trying to get a little bit of safety, but there's no safety when FlyQuest has your number, baby. Trying to punch them tickets. Huni already expelled his ultimate. Every single time Takoi goes in, he said, this is my dream territory. FlyQuest pressuring, not even 25 minutes yet, chat. We're already knocking on the doors. Huni with the last stand right there in the back. Rocket slicing through nobody because there's not a single phase left. Shen Yi coming up. And on the clock right now, FlyQuest remain the only undefeated team in the LCS.
Wow. That's a game that'll bring smiles to FlyQuest fans, that's for sure.
Oh my lord. So I loved last week in the crazy kind of I don't want to say it, but cluster craziness, right? I love it though, also seeing just how clean this was.
Hey, espera, si has llegado hasta aquí, te doy las gracias por ver el vídeo. Recuerda suscribirte para estar al día de las mejores partidas de competitivo en español. No te olvides de apoyar el vídeo con un like y tu comentario. Dejo todos los links para que apoyéis al LVP y sus casters, ya que sin ellos esto no sería posible. ¡Hasta la próxima!